Hello, this is the update, well, first date for Dart Bowl, the second season of the Dart Bowl Cup. I figured this time rather than do a lot of short videos, I'm just going to do a video at the end of round 2, so almost halfway through the league, a video at the end of round 4, so that'll be just before the final game, and then like a final roundup. So just be 3 long videos rather than a series of short videos. I'm going to go through each of the teams, talk about their matches, how their team's developing, how their star team is doing, how their betting is doing, and their next upcoming match. So this will be quite a long one, but it might be interesting. I just thought I'd try something different because people said that there were a few too many videos last time. So we're going to go in reverse order from the ranking. So at the bottom of the league in 6th, although slightly joint 6th, but in 6th nonetheless, are the Scarlet Harlots, Sean's Amazon team. It's kind of hard for you to be able to read anything on here, but I think it's nice to have a visual prop. So, Sean has played 2 games so far. His first game was a 2-0 loss against Dan's Orphaned Orcs, and a 3-0 loss against Jack's Necromantic Shallow Grave Dwellers. Sean has suffered 1 death, an Amazon Blitzer, unfortunately, despite having an apothecary, and he's yet to pick up an upgrade. He's got experience spread across his side. His star team is currently ranked 5th with 23 points. The star teams have been a little bit more bitty this time, which I imagine is because we have more tier 2 and 3 tier 2 and tier 3 teams in this season, and his current betting points are at 4. So it's been a difficult start to the league for Sean with Amazons. I mean, they're very much a side that relies on their dodge protecting their armor 7, and I think it's been a tough start. But they are still a very good side. I mean, one of the advantages is he's already got so many blodgers. His next game is up against the Misty Mountain Marauders, who we're about to look at. Ben's Goblin side. So that is going to be Dodge City. So we'll look at Ben's Misty Mountain Marauders, who are technically 5th, but also have 0 points so far in the league. Ben's Goblins have... Their first game was against Matt's Miss Ogre Beauty Pageant, which was a 2-0 loss, and then his second game was against Dan's Orphaned Orcs, which was a 2-1 loss. So Ben has, unfortunately, he's had his Looney, his Fanatic die. He's bought a new one since. No, sorry, no. His Chainsaw, his Fanatic did die. He used an Apothecary and saved him. His Looney, his Chainsaw player, then died, and there was no Apothecary to save him. Ben has bought another Chainsaw Looney since. Ben's had lost agility on his Fanatic. Not had a great time, that Fanatic. But he's had 1 upgrade, and that's Sidestep on one of his Goblins. It's just like Sean, it's been a kind of a tough start for Ben with Goblins. Again, another side that relies heavily on dodge. But whereas Amazons have their positional players, their throwers and their blitzers, Ben's side has to rely on his secret weapons and his trolls, and they just really haven't been doing the business. Ben's dream team is on 25 points, which puts it in 4th, just 2 points ahead of Sean. And Ben's betting is on 6 points so far. Ben's next game is against Sean, as we just said, so it'll be the 2 bottom teams against each other, which means one of them will come away with something. It'll be a big boost whichever side manages to win, and neither side hits too hard, given that all of the Amazons have dodge, so the trolls can't do too much. So hopefully it'll be a good building game for both teams to give them some momentum as the league goes on. Now we jump to 4th place, and that is Matt's Ogre team, the Miss Ogre Beauty Pageant. Matt's technically joint 3rd, 2nd, however you want to say it. But no, he is joint 3rd, 2nd, but technically he's under Alex Dwarf team on touchdown difference. So Matt's 2 games, as we just said, he played Ben in the first round. He played Ben in the first round and won 2-0, which was a shock result to a lot of people. And then he played Alex Uncastable Dwarves in the second round and suffered a 2-0 loss. Matt's not actually picked up any injuries so far, which is amazing. And he's managed to grab 2 upgrades. One on one of these ogres, he's got guard, just in case strength 5 on 4 players wasn't punishing enough. And he's also picked up diving tackle on Antoine, one of these snotlings. So diving tackle combined with the fact that they have dodge and sidestep is a pretty effective combination, because you want to block the little thing to get away from it, but it'll just sidestep so it's still next to you. And you're not probably going to knock it down because it's got dodge. Matt's dream team is on 30 points, which puts it in 3rd place, and his betting is on 6. Matt's next game is against the Shallow Grave Dwellers, who are Jack's undefeated necromantic side. Matt's got a lot of strength. Jack might struggle against strength 5. Importantly, Jack's still lacking some of his players. Although the snotlings, I can't help but feel that they're going to be owed a real pummeling. Matt got 1 win, which I think is hideously impressive, with one of the worst sides in Blood Bowl. And I think from this point on it'll all be gravy, because it's hard to get an ogre side to grow effectively. But yeah, so that's Matt's side. I think he's done well to get 1 win myself. Right, now we are climbing up the ladder. As I said, the next team is Alex Uncastables, who are technically in 3rd place above Matt's team, but still have the same 3 points. Alex 2 games have been against Jack's Necromantic, which he lost 1-0, and against Matt's Ogres, which he won 2-0. Alec has picked up. He's lost some AV on one of his many blockers. He's had one of his runners turned into a zombie in his game against Jack. But he has picked up a new blocker since, and he's got Mighty Blow on one of these blitzers, so that really gives his side a lot more punch, because dwarves are so lacking in offensive firepower. And he's also picked up an Apothecary since he started the league. Alex's dream team is far in the lead. Well, not far in the lead, but it's still very impressive with 40 points. And he's only missing 1 member of it, Ripper, the dead werewolf. So it's very possible he could keep his lead. Jack's next game is against Dan's Orphaned Orcs, which is a huge game if Alec has aspirations of winning the league, since a lot of people tipped the dwarves to do it. They're going to have to beat the Orphaned Orcs. Otherwise, Alec's ambitions to win the league are very, very doubtful. But it should be a hideously brutal game with that much AV9 and blocking potential. Dwarves against orcs always highlights how good at blocking dwarves are, but how slow they are, since orcs can outpace them. So it should be a good game. Now we're up to the glorified 2nd place, and technically in 2nd place is Dan, since his touchdown difference is inferior to Jack's. Dan's Orphaned Orcs, another orc side with Dan. It really seems to be a side that brings out the best in his play. Dan's first game was against Sean's Scarlet Harlots, which he won 2-0, and then his second game was against Ben's Goblins, which he won 2-1. So thus far, Dan has played the 2 teams that are at the bottom of the league. He's yet to come up against some of the like the dwarves and the necromatics, but it should. Dan's been building well with his team. He's picked up a new linesman. He's got tackle, a great skill to take in this league, covered in dwarves, snotlings, and amazons on one of these blitzers. His dream team is 37 points, so only 3 points behind Alec. But unfortunately, his betting... Sorry, I didn't mention Alec's betting, which was 6. But Dan's betting is at 0. He bluffed his first round bets. And he fluffed his first round bets. And then in the second round, Dan actually missubmitted his bets, so there were no points. But in the league, at the moment, he's tied for 6th. As I just said, he's tied with 6 for first. As I just said, he's going to be playing Alex Uncastables, which is definitely the biggest challenge that his team's had, because Amazons can struggle, and no one is expecting too much from Goblins. But this is a real test for Dan, and if he wins this game, he's well placed to perhaps even win the league. Certainly come second. So it's a huge game for Dan, by far his biggest game. And finally, in first, by virtue of touchdown difference, Jack's Necromantic Shallow Grave Dwellers. These guys have been doing the rounds on the league. The first game, they won an extremely tight game against Alex Dwards, 1-0, which, while they won the game, Jack did lose his werewolf, who died, which is an enormous blow, super expensive. A player the whole team is built around. It's the equivalent of losing your War Dancer in a Wood Elf team. It was probably one of the most influential players that any team could have lost in the league. But despite that, he's gone on to play his second game against Sean, and he's got a 3-0 win, which has really built up his team. He's got Mighty Blow on one of his whites, and he's taken block on a zombie and block on a ghoul. So more block, more Mighty Blow. His dream team is last with 16 points, which is slightly painful. Although it should be noticed that Jack, one of his dream team players, Hansi, the runner from the dwarf team, the Castables, he killed and resurrected as a zombie. So now he actually has one of his own players on his side. So I'm going to stop the video there. With Jack has 8 betting points. He's also winning that, and we'll see in the next round how it all goes.